Up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. This is the Sober Gang Experience podcast, and I got a great show lined up for you all today. I got a very, very special person to me. He is one of my newest friends. We had linked up, and he is doing some awesome things in life. But addiction almost took him out of here, everybody. Addiction almost cost him his life and almost cost him his freedom. We finna get into this incredible story. So I would love for you guys to go get your popcorn, pull up a seat, go tell a friend to tell a friend, because this finna be an awesome show. Let's get it.
And he was going there and just a nightmare, disrupting everything, yelling, crying, all kinds of stuff, running out to the car.
So if this is y'all first time to the channel, I would love for you all to go watch the recent interviews or the latest videos we did back in the day with Richie also. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's up?
I can't call it, man. It's another beautiful day.
I have a way of navigating my way through triggers, but in the process of recovery, I've picked up a lot of tools and I've latched on and jumped in the back pockets of people with more experience in recovery. And when I have those triggers, I pick up tools.
Now, this is Mr. Show Out TV, my podcast, where we talk about addiction, and we try to come up with solutions. We try to come up with ways that we can actually help people that is battling addiction. Welcome back. It is Monday. It's the day of our God. And I hope everyone out there have a blessed weekend. I know I surely did. Like I said, every weekend I learn a lot about myself. I learn a lot that I am resilient. And if anything that comes my way, I can persevere. That's what I'm about. But enough about me. If this is your first time to the channel, this is the Sober Gang Experience podcast. We are not affiliated with any type of organized gang, color, or affiliation. When I say the Sober Gang, this means we are a unity. We are a unit of people that come together to try to inspire and motivate others in addiction. And today I got a great person who will be sharing his story, his trials and tribulations, and everything he went through battling addiction, going to prison, almost dying. Like I said, everybody, we finna inspire and motivate a lot of people in addiction today. So if this is your first time to the channel, I would love for you to take the time out to make sure you hit that little like button, hit the thumbs up button right now, and share this. Make sure you share this live stream. We are going live, so anything can happen when we doing live shows. So I would love for you guys just to stick with me till the end, because you will learn a lot of things. This will be a lot of things that will add value to your life. A lot of people go through these situations in life. So I'm finna introduce him to the show. We're finna get the ball rolling. What's going on, Ben?
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Man, it's lovely for you to be on the show. Thank you for joining us today. And I'm so, like I said, I'm just so motivated, and I'm inspired today.
It's a good day.
Yes, sir. But like I always do, Ben, I like to start off the first question. And I'm gonna ask you this. We're gonna get right to it. Who is Ben?
Who is Ben?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not exactly sure how to answer that. Where do you want me to start?
Well, let's start right there. We go just like, who are you? Before we get into any questions, I love to ask the interview people that at first, and we'll get back to it at the end. Like, break it down. Like, who are you as a person?
Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a father, first and foremost.
Absolutely.
My kids mean the world to me. I wouldn't be where I am today without them. I'm also one of the founding partners of Prairie Rose Wellbriety. So we started that a few months ago this year in order to give back to our community. So there's we've seen a need in our community, a lot of natives in our community wanting to get sober that don't conform to the AA mold. Mm-hmm. So we just want to create a safe space for other people to get sober and give back what we found.
Absolutely. That's very, very important. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just get clean, but the way you are giving back, it's also helping other people, man. That is awesome. That is awesome doing working in the community and also staying sober yourself. That is the main key. So we're gonna jump into the questions. Yeah, we're finna get into it.
All right.
Let's say you started. How was growing up for you?
Growing up, man, it's a story that everybody's heard many times before. Single mom, working all the time. Growing up in the hood. So I don't want to retell that old story that everybody can relate to. But I mean, we play the hands we're dealt.
Right.
So it led me to some bad choices. I got started pretty early on a pretty bad path, and took me to some pretty dark places.
They say you started using drugs at the age of 14. What was
Yes.
the underlying factor with you getting into drug use at that age?
A lot of unresolved trauma from my childhood. I'd been in and out of foster care a few times. My dad wasn't in the picture. He was an alcoholic. He was abusive. Just not being able to process those things fully. It just left me feeling isolated from, the people in my school, my friends, my classmates. I couldn't really relate to them because they hadn't gone through the same things that I did. And I didn't know how to deal with it myself. So I couldn't open up to anybody because, I had that part of me that was different than everybody. And I had feelings that I didn't know how to process, didn't know how to deal with. And alcohol was a quick and easy way to mask it.
Absolutely. Did you seek any treatment, any counseling at that, early in that age, or
Did I seek it?
Yeah.
No, I started going to treatment probably when I was 15 after I got into legal trouble.
Right.
Because it was not long after I started using that I started getting into legal trouble. And so it was court ordered for me to go to treatment many times from the time I was 15 until, I finally got sober. I've probably been in and out of 16 or 17 different outpatient treatment programs.
So you're getting into trouble. Let's talk about that a little bit. We're gonna dive into that. Getting in trouble that landed you in the prison at the age of 18. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, it was just a culmination of everything. I started. I couldn't work to support myself or my addiction at 14, so I started stealing things. Started out stealing packages of meat from the local supermarket here, going door to door in my neighborhood, selling it to people for half price, and then I would take that to the bootlegger and buy myself a couple bottles, and the cycle just repeated itself until next thing I know, they're starting to catch on to me at the store. I can't really go back there, so now there's houses that I know of where I can go and make a quick dollar. So it progressed pretty rapidly to where I was robbing houses at an early age, stealing cars. Stealing cars was the main thing that I did. I learned how to do that at an early age. Got into a lot of trouble for that. And when I was 18, I got arrested, and I ended up going to prison for 2 years.
So them 2 years in prison, how did that affect you mentally? Being a young man, being young at that time, and going in there at a young age, how did that affect you mentally?
I tried to be strong, but it scared the hell out of me. I gotta be honest. It scared me, because I was looking back on it, with my current mentality, I was still a child. I thought, that I had, grown up on the streets. I thought, I was, pretty big and bad, but there's a lot bigger people in there. There's a lot badder people in there. And
of course,
seeing some of the things that I seen and went through at that early age, it scared me.
Absolutely. That's one thing a lot of people say, man. A lot of people go to prison, and on the outside looking in, when we on the streets and we in our neighborhood, we feel like we the badass. But when you go in there, you found out very quickly that you're not the top dog, and at any moment anybody can make you bow down. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
ended up losing all my good time. I got into fights back to back because, you
Mhm.
know, I didn't want to be treated the way I seen other people treated in there. So,
Absolutely.
you know, I would get into fights pretty often, and I ended up spending my last 13 months in the hole there. So I got released from the hole. I did my last 13 months in the hole.
Wow. Explain how you graduated to shooting meth 4 to 5 times a day.
Well, I don't remember to prison. Um, I think I'm having some connection problems. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, it was
Okay,
skipping.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so when I got out of prison that first time, all my old friends that I had grown up with, they are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Sorry, it keeps skipping on my end.
Okay.
But anyway, when I got out of prison, all the friends that I had grown up with, the people that I used to drink and party with, and you know, smoke weed and get high with,
Mhm.
nobody was drinking anymore. Nobody was smoking weed anymore. Everybody was on meth, and I remember growing up, we were all super hard against it. You know, we seen what it did to people. We swore that it wouldn't be us, and every single one of my friends over that 2 years that I was gone, they all started doing it, and just being isolated after getting out from doing 2 years,
Mhm.
and all the people that I used to hang out with were on meth. I mean, it wasn't long. It was just a few months. All it took was, you know, trying to go see some of my old friends, and I was drunk and they were high. That, you know, I finally gave in and decided, let me try that. And when I first tried it, it was like a light switch flipped. I didn't have a taste for alcohol anymore.
Mhm.
All I cared about was getting high. And I mean, I tried to quit. I tried to substitute. I tried to quit, but I didn't try to quit. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
tried to quit, but without going to treatment, without doing it the right way. I just tried to switch back from doing meth to drinking, and that ended up really badly too. I got into an accident on Thanksgiving Day, actually, and I rolled a car on the Air Force base, and I almost got arrested for that and had to go to treatment again. But I still wasn't ready to get clean. I progressed pretty quickly into doing meth every day, and then kept getting into more trouble. And from there, the more trouble I got in, the deeper I got into the drugs, because I was on the run from probation. I was on the run from parole. I had picked up new charges I was on the run from. So I couldn't get a job. I didn't have nowhere to go. I wasn't, you know, welcome at my family's house because cops
Mhm.
were looking for me there. So I really, in my mind at the time, the only choice I had left was to start dealing.
Mhm.
And that's what I did. So in order to support myself and to stay out of jail, I started dealing, and then that in itself became an even bigger addiction than the drug itself, because that whole lifestyle is way more addictive than any drug ever could be.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
and then I started using a needle really out of convenience, just so that way, you know, whenever I go make my rounds to all these different houses where I was selling dope, I wouldn't have to stop and smoke with everybody, because, you know, I don't smoke.
You're
You
right.
know, I could just tell them all, you know, I don't smoke, you know, I don't get down like that. I do a little bit
Mhm.
different. So then I
Mhm.
could just pull up, handle my business, and be on to the next house, you know?
Right. Yeah, I bet you that was that a turning point in your life at that moment being that you just realized that it seems like everything is spiraling out of control. You're going deeper and deeper into drugs. Did you feel like you were lost at that time? Was it at a point of no return?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That was before I went to prison the second time. In between my two prison stints, whenever my whole life spiraled out of control. That was the darkest my life has ever been. Like I can never put into words the despair that I felt every single day of my life until I got arrested that second time. Just not being welcome anywhere unless, I was showing up, with drugs to sell, only being welcomed based on, the amount of drugs I was carrying at the time, not having any friends that I could talk to, not being welcome at my family's because, cops were always looking for me. I was getting into police chases all the time. I was constantly on the run because I was wanted by every, court system, city, state, traffic. I had warrants out of every jurisdiction, locally. It's just the most isolating thing ever. I had friends giving up on me. I'd get into a police chase and all my friends would just get out of the car and start walking and told me that that they can't be around me, that, it's just too stressful of a lifestyle. And, at the time I had no choice, it was either that or prison. And, after everything I had seen as a younger man in prison, I really didn't want to go back. I was doing everything in my power to not go back. So and the longer I stayed out, the deeper hole I dug for myself.
What was the family structure like? I know you said your dad wasn't around. Did you have anybody that was trying to get you on a straight and narrow? Anybody in the family that was trying to, get you out of that lifestyle?
Oh yeah, my mom worked a lot to take care of us. I got two younger brothers and two younger sisters. My mom, my dad left at a very early age, and my mom, bent over backwards, for as long as I can remember to do everything possible for us and, always try to, get us on the right track. But there's only so much one person can do. And, dealing with the things that I was dealing mentally, I mean, I don't think any one person could have put me back on the right track. It was, I had to go through some things and, learn for myself and, in order to find the strength within myself to pull myself back onto that right path.
Absolutely.
But yeah, but my mom's always been there for me since day one. She's, even when I was, at my darkest, she was always there calling me, checking on me, always, telling me that she loved me and that she was there for me. And, I couldn't reciprocate that at the time because I had dug myself too deeply. But now that I've gotten sober, I do everything in my power I can to, to pay back to her, to give back to her.
Absolutely. And, she very much needs that because a lot of times, my dad wasn't in my life, being my dad passed away when I was 9 years old. So me growing up, becoming a man, like you said, though, my mom was only able to do so much. She working a full-time job, but she still provided and gave us everything we need. But I don't care what nobody say. A young man needs a father figure, needs his father around, you know what I mean? Especially at that moment, because I'm having to learn how to be a man. I'm growing up to become a man.
Absolutely.
And I'm out here making mistakes. And only thing, at that point in my age, I'm like, my mama can't tell me nothing. I'm grown. I can go out here. But every time I got in trouble, that's who was there. That's who was there who had my back. But
absolutely.
Yes,
like I when I first got into dealing, the people that that I was buying from, I looked up to because they had influence in the community. They had authority. They had power. They could go places, and doors would open for them. So of course, naturally, I looked up to them because everything I got, I got from them. So, and I wanted to be like them. But whenever everything went south, whenever I got caught up, I didn't hear a single word from any of them. I didn't hear a single word from anybody on the streets. The only person that ever came to visit me was my mom. So, and I will never forget that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna play a video clip, and then we're gonna get into some more questions with you, Ben. You know, right. We're finna get ready to it.
TBI, they roll. Starting a massive fire now.
Yeah, that looked pretty dramatic. But we're gonna get to it like this, Ben, because you know on the Sober Gang Experience podcast, we like to be real and upfront. November the 27th, 2019. Let's talk about the high-speed chase from the police that almost killed you.
All right. We can get into it.
So I just played the video clips right there for you all. If you just tuning in right there, then was the actual video footage of Ben himself on a high-speed chase from the police that almost killed him. Can you break it down, the situation and how it really happened, Ben?
So I got out of prison the second time in April of that year. I think it was towards the end of April. I did 4 years of a 5-year sentence. And when I got out, I wasn't clean for very long. Some other things going on in my life that I had put too much stock in went south, and I went right back to using. And it was it was like that switch flipped as soon as I started using once. And next thing you know, I'm right back to dealing, right back to the guns, the drugs, the trap houses, everything. And that day, I had I was making my rounds, like I always do, selling and all that. And I ran into this guy that I knew. He had some guns for sale. I bought some guns from him. He asked me if I wanted some more guns. I said I want, all the guns that I can get. Well, he said that he needed a ride to go get them. I told him I got a car. We can go get them right now. We ended up at this house in the middle of nowhere. I'm under the assumption that it's his house. I thought he was going to sell me some of his stuff. So we go to this house, and we're not there very long, and he comes running out and says cops are coming. It wasn't his house. It was a house that he had broken into the night before and left some stuff there. So he needed a ride to go back and get it, and didn't, clue me in on that information. So now in my mind, I had just gotten out of prison. I'm in a bad situation, that, is entirely of my doing. My choices led me there. I'll take responsibility for that.
Absolutely.
But I panicked, just simply put, I panicked. I had just gotten out, and, to be surrounded by cops, I panicked. I sped off. They had tried to, there's two cops that had gotten out of their cars and was like standing in front of them, like at the end of the driveway, trying to block me in. But I drove through the ditch and drove around them and sped off. And I only got about a mile away. I was doing 85 on a dirt road, and I had 3 passengers in the car with me. And as you've seen, they hit me, and my car left the road. We rolled about 7 times over a quarter mile, and you see how bad the car was. That's after the tow truck flipped it over. When it stopped rolling, it came to a rest on its top, and I was able to crawl out. And by the time I crawled out of the car, my car was already surrounded by police officers. They had me at gunpoint. They were yelling at me to get on the ground. So I got on the ground in the dirt right there, right outside my window, and they got on me, put their knee in my back, and had a gun to the back of my head. And I look in the car, and my passenger is, unconscious, hanging from the seatbelt upside down, and there's just blood pouring out of them. It's just dripping down onto the top of the car, and it's just raining. And they were pinned in the car. We had to wait about 20 minutes for the firefighters to show up and extricate them from the car. So for 20 minutes, I had to lay there and watch my passenger bleed out and not know if they were going to make it or not. Hold on 1 second. Everybody survived. Everybody made it. But I ended up going to jail again for that.
Wow. Well, I knew there had to be was that the turning point? At that moment in your life, being you looking at everything that is going on. At this point, you've probably been in prison for almost 7 years altogether from the age of 18. You're selling drugs, you're shooting meth 4 to 5 times a day. At this point in your life, you on a high-speed chase, you flipping the car, you're almost basically killing yourself. was that a wake-up call for you right there? Was that a sign that, hey man, you know what I'm saying, I gotta stop this shit? What was your mentality? What was you thinking about at that time?
I got to be honest about it, man. The turning point for me was about a week or two later, whenever I was in jail, and because at the time there was too much drugs in my system. My mind was all cloudy, adrenaline from the wreck, everything the cops were saying. It wasn't until my mind cleared, and it was about a week or two later when I was sitting in jail that I had some time to sit and think about it. And that was the real turning point for me. After the drugs had left my system, and I looked at the situation and what all had happened because of me, everything that I caused, with my lifestyle and the people that I hurt. And I looked back, I was able to take stock and take inventory, and all the people that that were hurting, that because of the way that I was living. And that was the real turning point for me, because I thought about my family, my kids, my friends, the people in my car, the person whose house that was, that got robbed. All of that, was a negative impact because of my using.
Wow. So at that point in your life, was that a turning point for you when you just realized, it seemed like we have to go through so much darkness in our life for us to actually realize? I think sometimes that's why I gave you the title of that. After reading your story a little bit, man, only the strong survive. Being only the strong survive everything you done went through. But it seemed like you pretty much at the beginning had everything against you to basically say, the system could have said, just throw him away to a young child. Let's just put him in prison for the rest of his life. We can't do nothing else to him. Can't do nothing else for him. But you battled the odds and you made it up out of this shit, man. So I applaud you, man, because any times down that road, Ben, you really could have done some shit that just said, fuck it, man. I'm gonna just go ahead and go all out and just do some shit that let it land me in prison for a lifetime. But you manning up and doing the right things, hey man, I applaud you for that, man. And and that's what we need more of, more men like you to stand up and preach and scream and yell this recovery and sobriety loud, because it's a lot of teenagers right now that think they Joey Badass, being selling dope, robbing, stealing, carjacking, and at the end of the day, that really ain't gonna lead them to nowhere but pain and agony at the end of the day, man.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When did you decide there was time to change and seek recovery?
When I was in jail for that car wreck and that, because I had, like you said, up until that point, I had spent most of my adult life in prison and in jail, and then that event happened, and they wanted to give me 15 to 20 years for that event. And at that point, I'd already done close to 10 between county jail and prison and everything else over about as many years. I wasn't out for very long in between times, but I just decided it was time to try to give it one legitimate push and try to fight and see what I could do with my life.
Absolutely. Like I said, once again, I commend you, man, because your story is very powerful, and telling this story, man, can very, very resonate with a lot of young men out there. I'm telling you, they're stealing, carjacking, selling dope, shooting up. It's at that time, it seems like it's the thing to do, and it's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Do you think
it always seems like a good idea until you're laying there with a gun in the back of your head, watching your friends bleed out and not knowing if they're going to make it, all because of something you did.
Wow. Yeah, that's a wake-up call right there. Your friend Carson, tell us how he helped you in your recovery, being there as a friend.
Before him and I met, I was sober, but I wasn't working a program. It was just I was pouring everything. I started after I got out of jail, and that I was put on probation for that. I started my own business. I started a remodeling company because that was something that I always wanted to do. You know, all the time that I spent in jail and prison, I would watch, you know, This Old House and, you know, HGTV and, you know, watch them rebuild all these 100-year-old houses. And I always, you know, dreamed about doing that one day. So when I decided to, you know, get legitimate about trying to do something with my life, that was one of the first things I did. Is I started my own remodeling business and started, you know, pouring everything into that. And that's how I met Carson. You know, he worked in the same field as me. He, you know, has a lot more experience than me. And we started working together. And he's in recovery as well. He's more serious about working a program. Up until that point, I hadn't. And, you know, working with him, he taught me how to give back to the community because I was pretty isolated. I, you know, didn't really talk to people or hang out. I just, you know, poured everything into going to work and going to the gym because that's what kept me sober at the time. But, you know, seeing everything that he did for the community, and he's not from here. He very long, but in the short time that he's been here, just seeing how much he gives back to a community that isn't, you know, originally his. It, you know, inspired me to, you know, to want to do that because, you know, like everybody I talk to says that, you know, my story, you know, can inspire people. And if that's all it takes for me, you know, to help one person get sober, then, you know, I'm willing to do that. You know, I will always do that in order to help somebody get sober.
That's what it's about. And damn well deserving of it. Because I can tell you this right now, man. That's why I think me and you got that bond, because I ain't gonna lie, man. We done went through a lot of shit. We done seen a lot of shit. And it have been times in both of our lives where we just could have just folded, took the prison time. I could have been died in my addiction, doing jail time. But it's the reason why our God, your God, my God, we don't have to have the same God, but we got the same goals, and the end game is the same. And that's to try to help and inspire and motivate people, man, by all means. Because I know deep down right now, it will be somebody young that will go be like, man, I had the police on a high-speed chase. Now, see, I had the police on I fled in my car twice from the police. One time I got away, Ben. The second time I didn't. And both times it was so embarrassing because drinking was involved. And that was my drug of choice. Alcohol was destroying my life. It was destroying everything. All the things that was going on with me, man, had to do with something about drinking, man. And I had to change that shit. So if anybody out there right now, if y'all watching this, man, I'm telling you, Ben and we letting y'all know that it's cool. It's okay if you experiment with this shit, because we know a lot of people. We know y'all out there go do that. And we can't stop nobody from drinking, drugging, using, selling, robbing. We can't stop y'all from doing that. But at some point in time, you're going to have to man up and be a man and put away those childish things, man, because it's not worth it. The end game, you do not see a dope dealer or somebody that's robbing cars going out to be successful. The end game is never good. But if you change the ways you do it, you can inspire somebody. You can go tell somebody about your story and be a better person to society, be a better person to your family and to the community. That's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. We're going to get into some good questions, man. I'm going to ask you, man. Like I said, I always ask my people this at the beginning, and I always come back to the end and ask them the same question. So I'm going to ask you this again. Who is Ben?
Who is Ben? I mean, simply put, I think I am what I give back, you know? I'm not a collection of all my past mistakes. I'm not a collection of, you know, the sum of all the time I've spent in jail and prison. I am not, you know, the amount of drugs that I sold or the amount of cars that I, you know, stole. I am what I give back to my community. And today I think that's a positive thing. I have my Prairie Rose Wellbriety group. I'm pretty active in my community. I'm on several boards and coalitions, and I devote all of my free time to helping my community in every way I can.
Absolutely. That's amazing. That's amazing. Finish this sentence. My name is Ben, and I am.
My name is Ben, and I am an addict. I will always be an addict. That doesn't change. You don't wake up one day cured. You're always going to have to deal with that for the rest of your life. You got to stay vigilant with it. You can't forget that, because that's how, you slip and start backsliding. So first and foremost, I will always be an addict. I am a father. Pretty soon I will be a husband, and I do everything I can to make sure that I will be a good husband. And that's it. I try to give back to my family, give back to my community, and inspire others to, with my story.
Awesome. Finish this sentence. Today, I will not let negativity get the best of me. Because going through everything that I went through, there was this little mantra that I would say to myself all the time in order to, not let the depression and the darkness take hold of me. And that's positive vibes bring positive outcomes. The manifestation, prayer, all of that, holds true. If you keep positivity in your heart, if you keep looking for the good, if you keep, holding out for hope for that something good is going to happen, it's going to happen. You just got to be ready for it whenever it does happen. Absolutely. Well, it's been an awesome interview, man. I can talk to you for days. What do the future hold for Ben? Can you tell us about your endeavors, about your businesses and your involvement with the community, and to tell us about the awesome things you're doing to help people and inspire others?
Yeah, like I said, I have my remodeling business, Lakota Renovations. It's been going very successful. I've gained a lot of popularity with my business lately, and I was able to use that and branch off to another business, Ren Investments. It's a real estate investment firm to buy and flip and sell houses. And with those two working together, I'm going to have a partnership with Prairie Rose Wellbriety, my other business, and we're going to open transitional living houses for the community, because a lot of people in our community, they don't have homes to go to. They, living in the homeless shelter, they're living under bridges. And those are people that, they're still your brothers and sisters, they,
Absolutely.
Whether or not you know them or not, they're still your people. And they deserve a chance just like everybody else.
Absolutely. I love your mentality right there, man, because you're really diving in and you're really helping the community. And you gonna get your blessings from that, man. Because I'm telling you, you're on the right path, Ben. I'm here for you, and I know you're gonna be there for me. I'm telling you, it's the reason the stars lined up for us to connect, man. I'm telling you, everything is connecting. We are going to do some awesome things, inspire and motivating people in this addiction, man. And just wait for it. I can see it. Out of everything you done been through, everything from the drug dealing, the car wreck, prison time, what has it taught you and what have you learned?
Man, I could write a whole book on that. I guess the most important thing is that the only real legacy we have is, our impact on our community. Popularity fades, all that stuff, but how you'll be remembered is how you treated everybody, like how many people you helped, how many people you made smile. And that's more important than how many cars and how much money and how much drugs you sold and all that. How will you be remembered after you die? Do you want to be remembered as somebody that helped the community, or do you want to be remembered as somebody that couldn't stay out of jail and they just want to sweep under the rug and forget about?
Absolutely. This has been an awesome interview. We're going to end it right there. Thank you again, Ben, for giving me the opportunity to interview you. This was an awesome interview, and this was an awesome message. So if y'all just tuning in right now, this is the end of the awesome, powerful episode with Ben. I would love for you guys to go watch the replay, and make sure, if this is your first time to the channel, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because we need a lot of more people to stand up and support this movement, support the vision, and support what we're trying to do. And that's inspire and motivate and give people motivation in their addiction. Ben, if anyone out there right now is going through something, battling any young man, young woman that are going through something, they need some words of encouragement, what would you tell them right now?
Just reach out. It doesn't have to be somebody you know. It doesn't have to be somebody that you're close to. Just reach out, because sometimes the problems that we're facing aren't as big as we think they are, and that once you get to overthinking it, you build it up in your mind, and sometimes just saying it out loud will put it into perspective. About how easily overcome your problems can be. If you just take that first step towards it.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Ben, for joining me today. This has been an awesome interview.
Anytime.
I'll be talking to you real soon.
I look forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Okay, brother. So there y'all have it. Another powerful interview with Ben. That was an awesome interview, you guys. And like I said, I would love to tip my hat off to Ben, man. And I love the way I titled the title of the thumbnail, Only the Strong Survive. A lot of people would have gave up and folded under pressure, all the things he'd been through. You got to look at it, man. He had served almost 10 years in prison from the age of 14 until a young adult. So he was looking at his life like he could have spent the rest of his life in prison. They were trying to get him 15 years. But he changed it around. Sometimes God give us his strongest soldiers the hardest battles to fight. And Ben went through that fight. And he managed to come out on the other side. And that's what it's about. We're trying to inspire and motivate people in addiction. I hope this video can add value to anybody's life out there. I hope somebody can take any key notes from this episode and add it to their life. It's never too late. I'm not trying to preach to anybody on my platform. I'm just trying to give y'all some stories, because all of us have been through them. And if you're going through the same thing, if you're going through things in life, if you robbing, stealing, and doing the things of that nature, you might consider changing that, man. Because the end game for that don't last long. That eventually leads you to prison or either death. I hope y'all didn't like this, man. So make sure y'all give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Because we're trying to inspire and motivate people in addiction, one episode at a time. Thank you, Ben, for joining me today. Till next time. Yeah.
Welcome to Mr. Show Out TV Recovery and Addiction YouTube channel, where we hope to inspire those battling addiction. Please subscribe and like the channel. Make sure you click the notification bell to get notified whenever we broadcast. Thank you and enjoy the show. To support the channel, you can send donations to Cash App $Mr. Show Out TV. So please don't wait, subscribe now. Together we can help and give inspiration to millions of people.